they were like, okay, let's try to direct her in a more constructive way. And so when my 4th grade teacher told me about speech competitions, I took that opportunity immediately, because I knew that if you put a group of unsuspecting people in a room, let's say about this big, and you stand in the front and you talk really loud, they're forced to listen. It's kind of like what's going on here. But yeah, so I started doing these speeches, and I'd write these speeches of the revelations I had as a 4th grader. And I loved it. I loved the fact that this was a platform where I could use my voice. I could say what I had to say, what I felt about situations, and people would listen. And I'd talk about things that were going on in my life and hope that someone could connect with it, someone could be inspired some way, somehow. And so I just fell in love with it. And I truly think I found my voice doing these speech competitions in 4th grade. And I was never really into the science fair, spelling bee was not really my thing, but speech competitions, that was my thing. So this continued. I did every single speech competition until about middle school. And then in middle school, something bizarre happened. It was almost as if like a switch turned off in my mind, and I was like, wow, I want people to like me. I want to be accepted. I want to be part of the cool kids. I don't want to be that one speech contest nerd in the corner, So Sheryl Sandberg actually talks about this, the fact that young girls around the age of middle school, they start to silence themselves a bit, and that's because they want acceptance. So when I read that, it really resonated with me, because that's exactly what I remember doing in middle school. And it was subconscious. I didn't even realize I was doing it. But yeah, so I wanted people to like me, so I stopped doing speech competitions. I stopped raising my hand in class as much. I started conforming to popular views instead of voicing my own unique opinion. I think there was a time in middle school where I started wearing Aeropostale, because that was a really big thing when I was in middle school. It was, in retrospect, low point in my life. So this continued till about senior year of high school. And then senior year of high school, something amazing happened. My good friend, Miriam, she actually did moot court the first time it ever happened in SVUDL. She was like, Barty, I know you, and I know you'd be perfect for this. You have to join debate. So, I thought about this. She was a good friend. I went home, and I was like, you know what? It's my senior year. I want to do something special and memorable. And to be honest, I have nothing to lose. If I suck, I'm gone. I'm a senior. It's fine. So I joined, and Miriam was right. It was unlike anything I had ever been a part of. In our practices, speaking out was recommended. It was recommended to say what was on your mind. It was recommended to say, hey, I like what you're saying, but I have a different way of solving this problem and approaching this situation. What do you think? It was all about collaboration. Collaboration was key. And I started interacting with people who had the most unique life experiences and the most distinct voices. And over time, the voice that I had shut down for so long finally started to come out. And 4th grade me was ecstatic. I was so excited to but I was able to use my logical reasoning skills and argue topics that I actually care about. I used my life experiences, everything that bothered me to this day, everything that's inspired me, everything that's kept me up late at night, I used them all in my rounds. And it was almost as if it was designed just for me. I loved the beauty of logical reasoning, and I loved the impact of the story. And debate was that one thing that tied both of them together so seamlessly. So, and then my second semester of senior year, I was chosen for mid-court, and we argued Gloucester County School Board versus Gavin Grimm. And that case has been permanently ingrained in my mind, as it's the first moot court case I ever did, and the first case that made me realize I want to be a lawyer. And to be honest, when I was initially chosen for moot court, I had no idea what moot court even was. And then I spent the next 3 months preparing a case on transgender bathroom rights and learning about Title IX, judicial deference from Chris and Cindy. And it was incredible. And I learned so much of the impact a precedent has of different legal terminology. And I even did my first IRAC, which is really cool. And this wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for SVUDL. So, see, I've always loved to speak. And I've always loved to use my mind and logically solve an issue. I mean, even 4th grader me knew that. But if Miriam never told me to join SVUDL and do policy debate, I would have never done moot court. I would have never met Willie or Chris, and I definitely would not be here today talking to you guys. So, but most importantly, I would have never truly known that law is something I can realistically do. This is the impact of SVUDL. It's taking a 16-year-old or an 18-year-old who has a passion, because God knows every 16-year-old and 18-year-old has a passion, and putting them in a space where they can express themselves, giving them the resources they need to make the decision for themselves that determines their life path. And that's why I decided to intern at SVUDL this past year, because SVUDL changed my life, and I wanted to see firsthand it changed someone else's life, you know, the life of another unsuspecting 16-year-old. So thank you